The Public Accounts Committee, sitting inside the National Assembly, continues a public hearing after 72 hours summon or order given to agencies that are to appear before them. Chairman of the committee, Honorable Bamidele Salam, wastes no time to read petition received by the committee against Engineer Dr. Sule Hamed Abdulaziz, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Transmission Company of Nigeria, and the management over the alleged abandonment of accelerated transmission distribution, interface transmission lines and substation projects worth over $231 million and over 18 billion naira, respectively.
Result of a petition that was received by this committee on the accelerated transmission distribution interface lines and substation project worth about $231 million and 18.264 billion naira, with which the TCN was involved with distribution companies, and the regulatory agency, the NEC, was also invited. Is there anyone from NEC here, please? Is there anyone from NEC? Okay. While we are with them, I think we should just proceed. Honorable colleagues, the issues from the brief that you have is to the effect that sometime in 2021, the then President Muhammadu Buhari, granted that certain funds be made available for the purpose of enhancing the capacity of our transmission and distribution lines to be able to have a more robust power sector intervention. And these funds were made available for certain projects to the distribution companies of the petitioner, that the funds have not been judiciously used and that the project ought to have been delivered by now, upon which we caused a letter to be written to the Transmission Company of Nigeria, which also sent in a response stating the status report of the project as well as the procedure for the implementation of that loan disbursement and execution of the project by the distribution companies. We expected that the Electricity Regulatory Commission would have been here because they have a central role to play from the documents submitted by the TCN. But I will give the MD TCN a few minutes to speak to the presentations earlier made to this committee before we begin the intervention that we have in terms of our questions and comments on the presentation. But before then, the MD will be put on oath, and I want to call on the clerk to please administer the oath on the MD of the TCN. Thank you. Thank you very much, MD. So you can please sign the oath form and return it back to them. In response to the request from this honorable committee, after which you are satisfied, you will be required to please come forward and lay those documents officially, and then you'll be asked to speak to them. Thank you very much. So, MD, you can please give us a summary on these projects, the procurement.
MD, this committee has membership of close to 30 people. The information we have is you submitted only 15 of these documents to us. Subsequent documents coming to this committee should be close to 35 or 40. And we would want to have it at least 2-3 days before the sitting. Even when a man has a photocopying memory, I don't think I can deal with this documents in less than 2-3 minutes.
Honorable colleague, can I please accept responsibility for that? And that's why we asked that the Secretariat should produce a summary of the issues that is in the executive summary produced. And we actually asked them to supply 15 copies, because by the time they told us the number of documents that they are going to be submitting, we just felt that we might also be able to get some soft copies available. So please, I take responsibility for that, and I apologize to the honorable members. I'm sorry, please.
About this project, the only thing I would say before I say anything is that in such a forum, I was accepting that NAC and Central Bank are supposed to be here because they are very important to this issue. And TCN alone cannot defend whatever happened on this project unless other parties are available. But all the same, since the chairman said we can continue, we will continue. If there is any issue which we cannot address, then the appropriate organization should be called to explain. Yes, sir. As you have explained, there was some gap in the electricity sector. The distribution companies were complaining that GCN is not giving them supply where they need it. So that a need for GCN to invest on some projects so that the distribution companies will be able to distribute light to Nigerians. But it was observed that GCN doesn't have that amount to do those projects. So the federal government now involves Central Bank of Nigeria as the people that are going to finance the projects. NAC, being the regulator, now is the one that is leading the exercise. So TCN is just the beneficiary of the project. The project is signed by the distribution companies. Now in TCN, there is a PMO, project monitoring office, that was set up to do this procurement. The procurement officer will soon join us. He has all the details. But here with me, I have Engineer AJ, who is also part of that team that participated in this process. So with the permission of the chairman, I want the chairman to allow me to give Engineer AJ the microphone to explain more to the committee. Thank you, sir.
AJ, do solemnly swear, affirm that.
Do solemnly affirm.
Yes, affirm that the evidence I shall give before the committee and all the documents that I will present before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Please, is Honorable Koki in the house? Honorable Koki.
Of Nigeria and distribution companies service level based on agreed hour of supply to the customers. In order to achieve this in view of the value chain nature of the power sector, NEC took the necessary steps to direct TCN to align and prioritize its investment towards resolving the transmission distribution interface bottleneck and reducing the high incidence of 13233 kV trippings as part of investment to be made. This is anchored on firm service level agreement between TCN and DISCOs on the one hand, and DISCOs and the customers on the other hand. NEC imposes financial remedies for non-performance by either way. By this it means if the regulator has given allocation to distribution companies and they are mandated to take those allocations, if for any reason bordering on the inefficiency or bottlenecks that are supposed to be solved by TCN, they are unable to take this quantum of energy. Now what it means is that Transmission Company of Nigeria will pay liquidated damages, making them good by way of paying for energy as well as capacity.
I want us to be well guided so that we don't go into so many issues. The issue is the disbursement of those loans. You have told us why they were necessary to be obtained. Now, what was the procurement process? How many discos were involved? How much was involved? What is the stage of the project? What is the structure of the repayment of those loans to the beneficiaries of the loan? If you can take those key issues, it will save us from all the technical details of what you do.
Okay, thank you, distinguished. So, stakeholders engagement. NEC oversaw engagement between TCN and the 11 distribution companies to align on this list of critical interface projects that would significantly increase TCN's capacity to unlock DISCO's energy demand in critical load centers. A total of 125 projects were identified and agreed upon in the tripartite engagement. The Commission approved the project list of 125 projects as well as the securement of financing from the CBN for the same project to the tune of about 122.3 billion in loan from CBN. I said naira, billion naira loan from CBN's Nigerian's Electricity Supply Industry Nation Stabilization Strategy Limited, SSSL. The TCN and the 11 distribution companies set up a multi-stakeholder project management office, that's the PMO, that was responsible for undertaking the procurement and eventual monitoring and evaluation of the project to implement and the DISCO NEP intervention. The approved 125 number projects are categorized as below. 1, 53 projects requiring procurement of new contractors for which the procurement was concluded on the 25th January 2022. 2, 44 projects which are ongoing, TCN projects.
How many projects?
44 projects which are ongoing. This shows that TCN has been embarking on such projects before now. So there wouldn't be any need to repeat it as a new project. That's why it's incorporated here. 44 projects which are ongoing TCN projects with initial funding under the FGN appropriation and only in the need of a variation of the initial contract values through the Bureau of Public BPP and the Federal Executive Council. These are also being processed to benefit from funding augmentation from the DISCO NF projects. 3, 23 projects were taken over for funding by development partners such as World Bank, JICA, FDB. 4, the final 5 projects that complete the 125 total projects are with the Yola Disco franchise area, had their procurement delayed to allow the new investors come on board. Procurement process adopted was in conformity with the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission's procurement and regulatory guidelines. The procurement for the 53 projects started in January 2021 with pre-qualification of bidders simultaneously across the 10 DISCOs, except for Yola, and we are concluded on the 25th of January 2022 with a total budget of 107.66 billion naira, and later came down to 104 billion naira after the rescoping and contract redenomination to naira due to FX constraints. 53 number contracts signed in February 2022, but was effectively commenced in June 2023 due to the delay in sourcing of the FS issue, and currently at project management stage. Fund disbursement. CBN has disbursed funds to 46 projects amounting to 85.3 billion naira, starting in August 2022, with 7 projects under IBDC yet to receive payments due to its board delay to sign the needed board resolution on the same project. The amount disbursed to each contractor represents 100% offshore and 30% onshore of the original contract. The 118.8 billion naira yet to be disbursed to the affected contractors. Project implementation, progress, and performance. Projects are presently being implemented through the PMO's office at TCN headquarters in collaboration with both TCN field engineers and distribution company's technical team. The time set for the completion of SLA supply contracts is end of February 2024 and May 2024 for the EPC contracts. Percentage of the fund are meant for the offshore component of the project. Majority of the contractors have mobilized through manufacturers to commence production, while letter of credit LC are also being opened through their commercial banks. PMO started with weekly stakeholders progress meeting to monitor progress and discuss issues rising on the project and address the same. Presently, monthly site meetings are being held for EPC project location where site activities have commenced. 7 contractors have finished with offshore production process. They are skippers for Benin Electricity Distribution Company, GTA for Port Harcourt, TND West Africa for Ikeja, Lajes Power for AEDC, Bosdor for AEDC, Fosab, Port Harcourt, and Bean Energy for Eco Distribution Company. Manufacturing process for most of the contracts is scheduled to be completed early next year, that's 2024, to pave way for shipment and delivery. 3 of the contractors, Keeper, Bosdor, and Lajes Power, are in process of delivering 6 transformers at just cleared at the airport, at the port, to designated project locations in Lagos and Abuja. This is just the overview of, yes, for the project. We're expecting that the CBN and the regulatory body who directed this project should also be here to answer most of the nitty-gritty questions. Yes, and the distribution companies as well, who are the center of the project itself.
After introduction and presentation by the TCN team, Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, Bamidele Salam, with members of the committee, set for interesting questions from TCN.
Work well in accordance with the law and in accordance with the global best practices, and also ensure that there are monies that are appropriated by this House of Representatives or monies obtained from any other source that are public funds. They are judiciously utilized. We don't have any reason to doubt your competence as an organization, but we still have to do the needful of our interactions with you. Honorable colleagues, that's the presentation on this project. I have a few questions, honorable colleagues. I'll just ask 2 questions, then I'll throw the floor open. MD, you said in your presentation that there was a PMO that was established or set up for the purpose of executing this intervention or this loan disbursement procedure. And I want to ask, who can be said to be the receiver of the loan? Know that you said the loans are given by the CBN through various banks. Is that correct? No. Oh, okay. It's not this. No. Use your microphone. Use your microphone.
Sorry, sir. They are not using banks. The money sits to CBN.
Okay, so the monies go from the CBN directly to the contractors. To the distribution companies. Okay. Distribution companies are the beneficiaries of this loan of 86 billion naira and 231 million US dollars. Okay. The distribution companies are private entities. They are private companies. I just want you to confirm that. They are holdings, they are private companies.
On income, expenditure, or inflow, the committee have the following questions for TCN.
In their 40%. Okay, excellent. So they are mainly or majorly private-owned entities. That's correct. Okay. Now, what is the repayment terms of this loan? Who is repaying the loan, and what are the terms of the repayment? On your top right hand, yes. Go closer to the mic. Or draw the mic closer to yourself.
Because TCN is a federal government establishment, it was said that we are not in the position to take a commercial loan from. Yeah. I'm going to the questions. Yeah, and therefore the distribution companies were instructed to take this loan. That's why we're saying that the beneficiaries of the loan, now they are taking it on behalf of Transmission Company of Nigeria to execute these enumerated projects. At the end of the day, it was scheduled that from TCN's revenue, these loans will be amortized on source. In other words, on monthly basis, each of these monies sent to these contractors will be amortized through our revenue. And meanwhile, they have also started, by the schedule, started deducting the interest. And as of today, they have deducted 5.9 billion naira. From our revenue. From TCN. Exactly. Yes.
But the loans were actually disbursed directly to contractors, not even to discos.
Not even to the discos, from what we know.
So they were disbursed to private companies.
Exactly.
Doing a loan to get them those distribution transformers as well, or whatever they need to improve their power distribution. I'd like you to speak on that. Thank you.
Victor, do solemnly swear and affirm that the evidence I shall give before the committee and all the documents that I have presented before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Sir, there is difference between these two projects, and clearly there is no duplication whatsoever, because TCN is implementing so many projects. You know, some are for the expansion of the grid, and some are just to meet the requirement of the discos, the ability to offtake power from us to the consumers.
What's the explanation of the difference between
They are different projects. The Siemens intervention project, as clearly defined by the federal government, is not only meant for the TCN, it's meant for the whole value chain, so that there could be end-to-end delivery of power, right from the generation to transmission to the distribution and to the consumers. But this one we are talking about are the areas where we have because before this project, there's always this argument and counter-argument between the discos that, yes, TCN, you have equipment. We are not saying you don't have equipment, but you don't have this equipment where they are needed. So this project, the SLA we're talking about now, is to address such bottlenecks, to enhance the ability of the discos to take power from TCN and deliver to their customer within the shortest time possible. It's supposed to be a short-term project.
TCN, I want you to confirm whether or not you complied with the procurement process. Did you comply with the procurement processes, or you're just depending on the internal regulations of NEC? That's one. And then two, from your explanations, it appears that your repayment plan is based on the internally generated revenue. I stand to be corrected. Then my question is this: did you capture this, your repayment plan, in a 2022-2023 budget as approved in our Appropriation Act? Now, the third question, do you have a hindsight as to the agreement between the CBN and the discos? That's the third question. Do you have a clue of the agreement? Do you have a copy of that agreement between the CBN and the discos? I'm not talking about APG. I'm talking about the real agreement. You've taken the three, right? Your submissions to this committee, does it contain the amortization schedule
that the repayment plan that you have in paying back to CBN? Those are 4 questions. If you give us that directly, I think it will go a long way to help the committee. Thank you.
Number one, from the submission that we have, it will appear that the CBN record says that the figure total disbursement is 86.6 billion naira, whereas what we have in the record from your end, from TCN, is 85.4 billion naira. I want you to talk about that. Secondly, further clarifications from what the last my colleague said, the last speaker, covers a bit of it, but I just need to clarify this. First, there is this idea that the loan is for the business. Second, there is also a statement, I think from this, that the loan was taken on behalf of TCN by business. And then third, that the loan is to be repaid from revenue of TCN. The loan is taken for business. The loan is being repaid from revenue of TCN. What is that relationship? Where is the nexus between TCN and Discos that will make a loan that is being enjoyed by Discos now being repaid from the revenue of TCN? I think I need some clarification.
Number 2.
Before you go ahead, you are compliant with all the procurement process of this.
Procurement. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so in other words, you have the advertisement of the tenders in 2 national dailies. You have the evidence of that?
There are different types of procurement, but we have given all the details. We have confirmed with all what we are supposed to do.
I want you to just answer a yes or no. Whether advertised in at least 2 national dailies as required by the procurement regulations of the NERC, which you said you compare with.
The DEX officer is not here. I will not be able to answer that one, sir.
In other words, you do not know. So you cannot say that you are compliant with all the procurement process. You cannot answer that. Because one of the
we have, sir, the Bureau of Public Procurement has asserted that.
MD, just a moment. You have the regulation for investment in energy networks in Nigeria, regulation 2015, which you submitted as part of your submission to this report. And the requirements for the procurement
as far as repayment is concerned.
But the accounts are TCN accounts.
It's not TCN account. It was after this deduction that Mary Stem will now pay whatever remnant into TCN's account, not necessarily TCN account, into market operators account.
Okay, did you need to give the CBN any mandate? Did you enter into any agreement or give any mandate for the deduction of this money from source as part of the terms of the loan?
Yes, CBN has already concluded that with the regulator. And how it is possible for us to pay this loan is that once we have acquired these projects, it becomes part of the CAPEX, which the regulator will consider in due course to be able to address or review our tariff.
Okay, so in other words, the money is being paid as a refund of this loan was not budgeted for, it's not contained in the Appropriation Act. That's the...
It is, sir, it is not an appropriation issue. It's something that's coming from the regulator sees us as performing a role that is being paid for. And being paid for means that we will generate this revenue and pay.
Just a moment. You already said it's being paid from your IGR.
Yes.
Internally generated revenue.
Sure, sir.
Did you make the plans in your Appropriation Act, and was it appropriated for that from your IGR in 2003?
It doesn't come.
You have XYZ sum of money to be paid in fulfillment of obligations of a loan taken by the Discos?
It has nothing to do with appropriation in this case because it's purely IGR and we are using it to offset some of the projects being done.
You have the responsibility to account for all your IGR, even if certain amount of money is deducted from source. You are supposed to account for it. For instance, if your IGR is 1 billion naira, and what gets to you is 700 million. Are you following me? The 300 million there will have been deducted from source. However, you are still to account for the 1 billion. Exactly. Now we are now saying that what accrued to you as IGR is not only what gets to you. It is all the thing you generated from the deduction at source. Are you following me? Yes. That gives you the responsibility to declare in your budgetary provision that this is the whole money you generated. Either it's going to be deducted at source or not. So if you have not done that, then you have erred. You are supposed to say, okay, this is the whole money we have generated. Certain amount of money has been committed